Hey everyone, Brian from All Day Ruckoff here, and today we're talking about packing for the GORUCK Constellation 6 event in the year 2019. GORUCK has notoriously changed up the packing list every year for this event, so this is for the 2019 year. I took part in the event at the beginning of March and had an awesome time. I shot a packing video before the event, and then after doing the event, I figured out a number of things that I would have improved on. So I had a hard time. I was thinking, do I reshoot the packing video and include all the tips? Or do I just put text over the video with what I learned? I've gone with not reshooting the video. I thought it would be kind of weird and fake to reshoot a packing video, especially if I wasn't even gonna go do the event since I already packed for the event and took the videos then. So throughout this video, you're gonna see text at the bottom. Those are just tips that I learned when I was at the event and things I would do differently if I were doing the event again. In addition, at the end of the video, there's gonna be some tips just in general for the event that I hope you find useful. With all that said, here's the video on packing for GORUCK Constellation 6. GORUCK Constellation requires a bit of gear, so we're gonna go through it, we're gonna pack it away. I've got a Bullet 15, which is what I'm planning to use for the event. So we're gonna see how it all fits and everything we need. I wanna start out here by going with the bladder. The bladder is the biggest thing, so get that in first and then kind of work everything else around it. I'm gonna be using a HK quick clip, slid right through the top of the D-ring. And now that I've got that in place, I've got an attachment point for my bladder to hang off of. Today we're using a giant MSR bladder. I couldn't find any of the hoses for my source bladders, so this is one of the bladders I used at my second GORUCK Tough event back in 2012. So it's an old bladder, still works, and they're made really well. We're going to route the hose out the top so that it's not all bundled up in here and we don't have to fit it through at the end. The second thing I'm going to take care of is my ID and my 20 bucks, both of which are required. I also bring a credit card to all events because $20 in this day and age really doesn't get you that far. If I need to spend some money on something, I'll have a credit card. Tossing it in this little Tom bin pouch. And then I'm going to throw this into a dry bag. A dry bag is not required. I've never gotten wet at a Constellation event before, but who knows? Might as well be better safe than sorry. I like that extra protection. This is one of my favorite dry bags because it lets air out so nicely. Got a couple protein bars here. Constellation 6 runs, at least the Seattle one, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., so right through lunch. Bringing this along so I can tide myself over until I can grab food after the event. Throw everything in the dry bag. Close it up. Compress all the air out of it. I'm just going to shove it in the bottom. Next up, we've got a headlamp. It's on the list. I'm not sure exactly why we need it because we're dealing with 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It shouldn't be dark really anywhere during those hours, but I've got a headlamp right here. I'm going to throw this in the top pouch so I know exactly where it is. It'll keep it elevated a bit. It won't bang around with all the stuff throughout the ruck. Keep it a little bit more secure. Thankfully at Constellation, there's no required weight, so there's going to be no ruck plate, no bricks, none of that crazy stuff in the pack. I've got an extra headlamp here. I usually bring an extra one or two just in case someone forgets. So I'm not going to pack this in the ruck, but it's on the table in the gear that I'll be bringing. We're going to finish up with the top pouch. I've got a notebook and I've got a pen. And I've learned that at Constellation events, it's nice to have these so you can take notes on the stuff you're learning. So I'll be bringing this along. Got that tucked away in the top pouch. Also on the list, a phone and battery charger and a cord. So you can charge your phone if needed. I usually keep this stuff on me, so I'm not gonna pack it in the ruck. I mean, the phone's gonna be in my pocket. So for this, we'll just throw it right up here in the front. Reflective strap is also on the list. I've already got mine on my pack. This thing's been through a lot. I think I got it back in 2013. It was one of the prototypes. And then I've got the icon patches on here as well. The last thing I'll keep in the outside pocket, gloves, like the mechanics gloves. They're not on the packing list, but they're nice to have. Who knows what we'll be doing? Might as well have gloves just in case. Getting back to the inside, we have to bring a single 9-volt battery. I've got 2 right here, just in case someone forgets one. Throw it in the ruck. We also have to bring some steel wool, size 0000, and it's smart to keep that away from the batteries, especially if the batteries are unwrapped. So I'll shove that over in the corner. On top of that, we need a dust mask. Keep that closer to the top. Some duct tape. Fit that nicely in the bottom. I've got this big bag of steel wool here. I'm not going to pack this in my ruck, but I'm going to bring it just in case people forgot it. We've got a contractor bag on the list. Just got one of these. I've got a whole box of them. I'm going to bring these just in case someone forgot. It's nice to show up with some extra stuff. Constellation, as you can tell, requires a lot of gear. So I don't want people to be stressing if they're in the parking lot 10 minutes before the event starts and they're missing something. Nalgene, not on the list, but I like to have one just with some extra water in it, just in case. I'll usually stash it in the corner of whatever spot we're at. All the constellations I've been at, we've been at CrossFit gyms, so it's been really easy to just toss this in the corner. I might keep some candy on top, just in case the team needs some motivation. We need to bring a map of the city we'll be at. This Constellation 6 is in Bellevue, so I printed off a Bellevue map from the internet. That's worked fine for all the Constellation events I've done so far. Hopefully that works for this one. A selfie stick. You need one for the team. This is a hand tripod. I don't consider this a selfie stick, but it will work for the intended purpose. What you need it for is when you're out completing the missions, you have to take a picture and everyone has to be in it, so you can get that extra reach when you're taking your picture. If you've got someone with long arms, like I've got pretty long arms, you don't need a selfie stick, or you haven't in 2017 or 2018. Who knows for 2019. Bringing this just in case, but I'm not planning on using it as a selfie stick. Canteen cup, made of metal, that can be heated up. This is the same one I used last year. They're fairly cheap. You can get them for about $5 at Walmart. I got mine off Amazon. On the list of stuff to bring, we've got this 2-liter. If you've done Constellation before, you know what this is used for. I've got right here seltzer water. Very smart to bring seltzer water, something that's got no sugar in it, something that's not sticky. If you watch Constellation videos, you can see what these are used for. They kind of go on your face. So if you bring something that's got a lot of sugar in it, and you're gonna have that bottle pressed up against your face and it's gonna suck. So found out kind of the hard way, seltzer water is a good way to go. I don't put it in the ruck. I just keep it off to the side at the event, so I'm not gonna pack this thing away. The final thing on the required packing list is a 12-ounce or larger metal can. I've got one right here. I bought some baked beans with it. Just grab something from your grocery store, peel the label off, take the top off. And when you pack this, be careful because obviously it's a can. The lid is sharp. So I always try and get mine in with the pointed side facing down so that if I'm reaching in here, I'm not shoving my hand into this metal can and cutting my hand open. That would not be a fun way to spend Constellation. All that fits inside the ruck. The last thing I'll do is I'll put on an ITW Grimlock so that I can there we go. This Bullet 15 is ready for GORUCK Constellation 6. Really excited about this event. Really excited to use a bullet ruck at it. And it's always fun to hang out with Cadre Dustin. So it should be a good time. On the gear side, definitely check the weather. The thing with Constellation events is that a lot of it is learning. And so unlike traditional GORUCK events, the light, the tough, the heavy, we were spending a lot of time doing PT and staying warm. You are not doing that at Constellation. So if you're out in a park learning for an hour, you're going to want a coat, you're going to want a hat, you're going to want something to keep you warm, because there isn't going to be push-ups or a log or any of that other fun stuff that cadre bring along for the ride. So just think that through when you're packing. I usually bring a sweatshirt, I'll bring a raincoat, I'll bring a warm hat. I'll probably bring one of my ADR beanies this year. Probably going to bring the GORUCK heavy pants. Just stuff to keep warm, because traditionally there's going to be very little running, very little rucking, and next to no PT. Hopefully you enjoyed that packing video. Here are a couple tips that will hopefully make your event more fun. First off, the Constellation 6 events are not like traditional GORUCK events. The cadre is not yelling at you. There's no major pressure during the learning sections. I brought coffee in one of these to my Constellation 6 event, and I'm very glad I did. Ours started at 9 a.m. I'm kind of tired still in the morning, so having coffee there, very helpful. The second tip, which I also think is pretty important, if you're allowed to select your areas of operation, your AOs, then be considerate of how far away they are from your start point. Ours were roughly a mile in each direction. We had 4 of them. One was about a mile north, mile west, mile east, mile south. Our first task was to go and hit them all in the worst order possible. They ended up having to call it short because it was over an hour into that movement, and most people had only hit 2 of them. The Constellation 6 events are only 6 hours long. So if you want the majority of your time to be spent moving between points, then put them far out. But if you want the majority of the time to be spent hunting other teams or doing some other fun stuff, then maybe make them a little bit closer so you spend less time on the movements and more time on the skills. Those are 2 quick tips for GORUCK Constellation 6, which will hopefully make your event a little bit better. There'll be another video released in the future about 2019 Constellation tips, but I just really wanted to get those 2 out there because the coffee really helped me, and that AO information would have been very helpful as well, since a lot of those Constellation events are coming up soon. As always, thank you so much for all the support. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. We'd truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe. Truly appreciate that as well. Don't forget, attitude is everything. Keep yours positive and drink hard, ruck harder.